Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to change the transmission for my wiper assembly. It'll be the same on the 850s and the X70 cars from 93 all the way up to 2000. In this wiper motor transmission replacement, you do need to know that the 70 series has a different motor and transmission than the 850s. So the procedure will be the same, but do not try to interchange those parts because they will not fit each other. So what I have to do is I have to remove the wiper arms, remove the seals from the cowling, then I'll remove the cowling from the T25s. Then I'll take the two 10mm mount bolts loose that hold the wiper assembly and transmission to the frame of the car. I'll unplug the motor and I'll rotate the wiper transmission assembly off the body. I'll make special note of how that transmission assembly is put together and how the transmission is actually bolted to the spline of the motor, because when I put that stuff back together, if I don't get that just right, the wipers are not going to wipe the windows correctly. They're going to be 180 degrees off or whatever. So I want to make sure that's as close to perfect as I can get it. So I make note of how I take it apart so I can put it back together properly. And then I take the motor off the transmission, I swap everything over and put it all back together. These are the tools I use to replace the wiper transmission for the 850. Small screwdriver for prying and holding stuff, a couple of 10mm ratchets, extensions, drivers, a couple of 13mm, a wrench, and a socket there for the wiper arms. Go inside, I open the hood, I move my little tabs here so that I can open the hood the rest of the way. The hood is more out of the way when it's up like that at basically the 90-degree angle. I'm going to remove the dust cap from over the hinge bolt on the wiper and remove both wiper arms. Those are 13mm bolts. When I remove the bolts, I might have to press down on the arms to get them to pop loose from the transmission stems. Next, I'm going to remove my weather seal from around the fuse box and along the whole entire length of this cowling. After that, I'm going to take the cowling loose from the drain tubes that route the water under the vehicle. After that, I'm going to remove the 4 or 5 screws along the front of the cowling and remove that cowling. The first few times I came in here, I thought there was a cap or something missing from the wiper motor, but that's actually how Volvo built it. It has the cowling over it so it protects it from dust and stuff. So when you see that nothing's missing, that's actually the way it is. Next, you want to go ahead and pull this wire harness out of here so you can access that 10mm there. Remove that 10mm there, then you'll be able to lift the transmission out. You also need to unplug these 2 wire harness. Now, before you take this out, this is an awkward linkage and you won't get it back incorrectly unless you make note of how this part comes off the motor. If you're going to take the motor off of the transmission and replace that, you have got to make sure you see how this is positioned on the motor. You got to get that back on in the same position when the motor's parked, or you're not going to get your wipers to work right. It's just too big of a Chinese jigsaw puzzle. So you lift it up and out of there, you pull it out, and here's mine. This is the joint that kept popping out of the ball. So I have a replacement one. I'm going to go ahead and put that in, but I'm going to take the motor off and put this motor on the replacement transmission because I didn't buy the motor. In taking this motor off, when you try to put the 13mm on that nut, that spins around with the motor, and unless you pin something in the transmission like right there, that's all going to try to turn. So you could put a small screwdriver through there, stop it from turning, or you can do a quick jerk on the bolt to get it to break loose. I did a quick jerk on it with a 13 millimeter. Now I'm going to unscrew it, and be careful with unscrewing that so you keep the hardware in its proper orientation. Next, I tapped on the linkage there to free it from the motor. And you got to remember this motor's parked, so you may want to run it without the wiper and stuff connected to it when you get this stuff back together, but we'll see. So I tapped on that, got that loose from the motor, and now I'm going to take the 3 10 millimeter bolts out of the motor to lift the motor off the transmission. Now that the motor's loose, I'm getting these 2 wire harnesses loose. I'm freeing them by pushing a small screwdriver in that side because they're secured on the lip of this transmission. So, got to get those 2 loose. Alright, I have the motor bolts tightened in. I have the linkage just set on there. It's not tightened down because I want to make sure this stuff parks right. I'm hooking the wire harness into the slots on the transmission. So, you take them like that and put them down in there and clip them in place like so. Now I'm going to plug the motor in, run it and park it, and then I'll secure this on here properly. Now taking the motor back out and putting it back in, it made the motor change its orientation, so I'm leaving this bolt loose. I'm plugging in the motor, I'm turning the vehicle on, and I'm going to cycle the motor 1 time so that it can park right, and then I can reposition my wiper arms transmission on the motor. I have the motor plugged in. Now I'm going to turn the key on and let it do 1 wipe motion and let it park. Alright, so now it's parked. I come out here and I hook this transmission up like it was before I took it off. And it was pretty much from my memory at that orientation where this bar was coming across and it was lining up with the point on the transmission there. So now I tighten this bolt down on there and I should be good to go to install my wipers. The other part of this linkage you got to make sure is orientated right is this arm here. It could be positioned up here, which is the correct way, almost even with that bar there, or it could be swung down this way and be 180 degrees off. So be careful with putting this back together after you've taken it off. Now that I have it parked the way I want it, I'm going to put this in that pin, maneuver this stuff back in place where I could put my 2 10 millimeters in and secure the transmission into the frame of the car. Secure your 10 millimeter there, your 10 millimeter there, and make sure your wires are secure in the holders there. They may have popped out while you was getting that adjusted. Now you want to go ahead and put your wiper arms on, run your cycle 1 more time, make sure everything is in place so you can put your wire harness back there as well. Alright, I got my wipers on temporary because I want to make a dry run, make sure these things are going to wipe right before I put all the rest of this stuff back together. So let me turn the key, run it through a cycle, make sure they work. Fingers crossed. Alright, seem to wipe good. Let me see how high this one wipes over here. Alright, I think I'm good to go. I'm going to shut it down and put everything back together. Now that I have the wipers back off, I look at the pads, the grooves in them, put them back on the way they were. Press down like that. Do the same on this side. Make sure that pad is on how it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to put this trim across the bottom of the windshield that I am replacing because mine was just trashed out. Now that I have that lower window trim washed and in place, I'm going to go ahead and put my cowling back in place there. This is a good time to wash that off real good if you want to. I'm just going to put mine back. Make sure you get it in the seam down there, snapped in place, and put your 5 screws in it. I think that would be a real good piece to take off and treat with Forever Black. So I'm probably in the next couple weeks going to take that back off, wash it real good, treat it with Forever Black, put it back on, give the car a little touch of cleanliness there. Now I'm going to put my wipers back on, then I'm going to put my rubber seal trim back on. These seals here help stop engine odors from getting down into these scoops and into your cabin. So you definitely want to put that seal back along there. It seals the hood off from your cabin air. Let me put those wipers on, get those seals on, then I'll be all done. Alright, I have my weather seal in place. I have my drain tubes in place to help catch the water that comes down and route it under the vehicle. Just don't splash it around in the car. I'm good to go. I got my wipers tightened with my 13mm, and this one is a blade off of an S70, so it has been hitting the hood, but I think I got that taken care of. It's nice and tight. Alright, let me shut it down for today. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.